Welcome to 5-Star Weekly. Banged up, bruised, and embarrassed, what can Atlanta United do to weather this monsoon of suck? Let's get into all that and more coming up. Welcome to the show, 5-Star fam. I'm AJ.
Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube.
This segment is sponsored by Thinking Man Tavern, a cozy Decatur neighborhood pub. Grab a tasty beverage from a wide variety of selections and a plate of something delicious from the menu. To go, check out Thinking Man Tavern.
5-Star fam, here's your opportunity to support their work with voluntary pledges on Patreon. We have a lot of fun tiers on there, so join us for some tasty things going on in the future. But obviously, hopefully Atlanta United starts to do better as well in order for fun things to happen. But, hopefully it does very soon. But guys, yes, let's talk about that Chicago Fire match. It's a tough time to be an Atlanta United fan right now. It is, the 3-0 loss hurts a lot. It's a team that is down there in the dredges in the East, and we couldn't beat them. We now are equal on wins with Chicago Fire. Not exactly a banner thing that you really want as a stat as well, but I think going in, you kind of know that, with all the starters and all the players that are injured, our squad depth has just been depleted. Santiago Sosa not available. Jurgen Damm, of course, not available. Jose Martinez also, of course, not available. Amongst many of the players that basically, are either lacking match fitness or are injured. And then you have Ezequiel Barco just coming back. And then about to go on to international duty again. It's just like one of those things, right? But you essentially have a pretty kind of even match through the beginning and about 20 some odd minutes. But then the scoring is opened up, and it's just errors strewn about through all of their goals for the Chicago Fire. It's LA United are not covering themselves in glory here. Just too many instances of this where, an error or two and it leads to our undoing. It's, one, unlucky, but also kind of symptomatic of how poorly we're playing. That's essentially, any chances that we create, we're not putting in the back of the net. And when you don't put the ball in the back of the net, your mistakes, if they're punished, well, they're even more glaring. And so it's also, Chicago has been a house of horrors, no matter if it's Soldier Field or any other Chicago Fire home stadium. It's basically, we look drab every single time we travel to play Chicago. And for that's it's a pattern possibly, or it's just bad luck. Either way, you start to question not only, I think, the players on the pitch, but definitely the front office and the people who put this team together. Now, there are some people that might be saying, Gabriel Hainsey, what's going on here? We have a ton of possession, but we're doing nothing with it. But it is also, he's trying to bed these players into his system, but with each passing week, you essentially have fewer and fewer players. So, these players that are supposed to be those starters, through what he says is his fault as well, and his responsibility rather, that, he basically hasn't rotated very much. And Santiago Sosa, obviously one of those players that he said, well, he couldn't recover in time. And, we are just maybe 2 weeks in from the international break, and, Sosa is kind of wearing down a little bit. I think it's, he's played more minutes in his entire career already, in the 11 games in MLS, and then, of course, some of the Champions League matches as well. And so, he's definitely relying on his guys, and I think you're seeing now, unfortunately, there is, some wear and tear and fatigue that inevitably will happen. But, yeah, getting into those goals if we want to. I mean, I'm going to speed through these. But essentially, yeah, that first goal, yeah. Alvaro Madron, their Chicago Fire midfielder, he sliced through the midfield. He he fed Aliseda near the top of the edge of the box, and basically, yeah, Mo Adams a little late, tried to make a diving effort, but it's it's poor marking. It's also a lack of awareness. I mean, you have a brand new midfield in Mo Adams and Tyler Wolff as well. Never have worked together in an actual real life match. And so, I think that's what you're going to get, definitely, unfortunately, especially with a young kid and a guy that just came back from hernia surgery to start his first match. It's tough times right now. But then that second goal right in the stoppage time minutes in the first half, Miguel Navarro, he intercepted an attempted clearance, and yeah, they find Aliseda again at the edge of the box, and he puts a right foot through that ball, and yeah, it's the second goal, and it's annoying as ever. I mean, very defeating because it looks like one goal is enough to beat Atlanta United right now. We definitely look very dire in front of goal, and then you get into the 58th minute, and they pretty much just put this to bed. It was 3-0 because of an errant ball that was kind of a little hopeful from Anton Walks, who hasn't put many feet wrong throughout this season, but unfortunately is pretty much, I think, at fault here for giving an errant ball away. And then Frankowski, yeah, he dribbles into the penalty area, and then he beats Brad Guzan with a shot into the far post. And so it's just one of those, the mistakes are doing us in, and we just don't have any margins for error, and it's absolutely brutal. But, yeah, there are some slight bright spots. I definitely think that when Machop Chol came in, when Jackson Conway came in, we looked brighter. We were creating more chances, and there was definitely, I believe, a Chol chance pretty late on, but also, a decent chance that could have been put away. Would have loved to see that for the homegrown. Also, Ronaldo Hernandez made his MLS debut, and yeah, I mean, Hainsey did say that Wolff and Adams may be kind of the midfield going forward, so we'll see if that is the case. Maybe he might opt for a little bit more experience, as Marcelino Moreno did come off from the bench, and with Ezequiel Barco, definitely not. Well, he's got international duty, coming up with Argentina U23s in the Olympics, so it's gonna be all hands on deck. So yeah, homegrowns, maybe some twos players. It's going to be quite a makeshift lineup for sure. Mikey Ambrose also made his season debut, and so yeah, I think we'll see him a lot more going forward because of George Bello. But yeah, I mean, when you just have the likes of Santiago Sosa, Franco Ibarra, Jurgen Damm, Alan Franco, Emerson Heinemann, and Mateus Rossetto missing from the match due to injury, and then Joseph Martinez due to fitness was not available, I mean, it's going to be just, it's a little bit of a shambles. But on to the post-match quotes. Gabriel Hainsey, he did mention that, these offensive struggles and how he is going to think about how to fix the solution. He says, I'm going to repeat the thing that I've said before. I think we need to create more chances. Right now we're creating some, but we need to create more. We need to get more through passes. We need to try to beat the last line. Of course, we're worried about 3 games without scoring, but the only way I noted is to keep working. And on if he's going to change anything, he said, no, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to fix what we did bad. I'm going to keep insisting on what we are doing well. Always following the same ideas, same philosophy that I have with my teams. I know that this is this in the games you say, but I'm not going to change and leave this path. And so, yeah, I mean, do you guys agree with Gabriel Hainsey? how would you grade his performance so far throughout the season? And granted, yes, all these caveats with the injuries, without Joseph Martinez for a good chunk. I mean, yeah, it's tough. But let us know in the comments below. And he said on the current injury situation, he said, look, probably there are some motives. There are different situations with both of them in terms of Alan Franco and Santiago Sosa. It's true that the way I work, this thing could happen and I'm responsible. But these things take time and understand the way we work. The situation with these two players was totally different. Let me repeat that I am the only one responsible. I'm not telling you this to take the responsibility from our players. Let me tell you this because I know that I'm responsible. I'm the responsible one for this. So, yeah, he's taking responsibility, but it is, hopefully he does start to rotate, the starters that he does like to put in there in the 11 more in the future because, yeah, I think, with the depleted roster, I think you're going to have to see that a little bit more. But let's wrap this baby up, and we will have Nashville SC at Nissan Stadium on Thursday. A weird midweek match on a Thursday, but it will be at 8:30, and so we will have that preview later on in the show. But getting into the news, yes, Brad Guzan, George Bello, and Miles Robinson, of course, have been called up to the Gold Cup roster. And yeah, congrats, but also, oh boy, yeah, that's 3 starters that essentially are going to be away for a chunk of time, and that is troubling, especially with Brad Guzan possibly not really penned to be a starter, probably the 3rd goalkeeper on that roster. Also, George Bello could be a starter, we'll find out, but Miles Robinson is pretty much bang on to be a starter for Greg Berhalter. And so we shall see how they do. Hopefully they all stay healthy. But moving on from that, Ezequiel Barco, like I said earlier, makes the Argentina U23s for the Olympics in Tokyo. And yeah, that means he will be away soon as well. Pretty much he's already left early this week. But that's at least 4 players there that we will be without in July. And of course, those other players are not available due to international duty, but it is, for these players, it's, they're definitely, yeah, that's 4 starters, essentially. So this just came in, breaking news. LA United has acquired midfielder Amar Sejdic from CF Montreal in exchange for $100,000 in GAM, and has a potential to rise to $150,000 in GAM if performance incentives are met. And that trade is effective as of July 7th once the secondary transfer window opens. Technical director Carlos Bocanegra said, "We're really pleased to add Amar to our roster and look forward to him joining the club immediately. He's a smart, responsible midfielder who has recently started to come on for Montreal." In 3 seasons, the 24-year-old midfielder has appeared in 22 matches with 12 starts. During the 2021 MLS regular season, he's made 7 appearances and 4 starts, including Montreal's last 2 matches. Welcome. But yes, the central midfielder, he likes to dribble, likes to take long shots, intercepts well, but passing isn't super strong. He seems to be a depth piece and is pretty much warm body for us in midfield, as we are direly short in that department. But that wraps it up for the news. Very short one this week, but let's get into the match preview. It's Nashville SC, Thursday, 8:30, Nissan Stadium, and yeah, we played them recently, obviously. But we'll reiterate that, yeah, they had a good season last season, made the playoffs in their inaugural one, and of course, they've played us tough a little bit, but, finishing 7th place in the Eastern Conference, not too shabby. They, of course, were eliminated by the eventual champions in Columbus Crew, 2-0 in the conference semifinals. But, yeah, key acquisitions from last year: Rodrigo Pinheiro, youth international winger from Danubio, and then also CJ Sapong, well-traveled MLS veteran forward, and then key losses: Derek Jones and also David Akam. But their strength, yeah, they're a very stout defensive team that are very stingy, and yeah, one of those teams that will put a lot of zeros on the board. But one of their weaknesses for sure is finishing, and definitely the questions in attack. But they are, I think, doing a lot better than we thought maybe they would at the beginning of the season. But into the series matchup, there's basically been 4 games so far between us and them, and we have 2 wins to their 1 win, and then there's 1 draw in between all of that. And we have 8 goals, they have 7 goals. Of course, we played them on May 29th, and we drew 2-2 to them in what was a pretty decent match, but also, of course, that's right before the international break, we give up those 2 goals at the death, pretty much. And so, quite a thing. And apologies for the sirens here that you're about to hear. But basically, the current form for us is pretty dire. We have 4 draws and 2 losses in our last 6. And they have 3 wins and 2 draws with 1 loss in their last 6. So they're definitely doing a lot better than we are. And their last match, they beat the Philly Union 1-0. And so that's a very good result against a very, very good team. So they're that team that, like we said, also comes back from losing positions really well. I mean, case in point, that match at the Benz that they came back against us 2 goals. So, it's something that even if we get a lead, we're going to need to watch out for. But, they're that classic type of kind of set-piece team, and good aerially, and definitely one of those teams that, like I said, just very stout defensively. And, we're going to have our hands full to be able to create something, I think, in this match. But let's get into some of the players to watch. Walker Zimmerman, if he's available, of course, is their star defender. Hani Mukhtar, their midfielder, their creative force. Yeah, definitely is a guy that, we rue having to see for sure. And, of course, their holding midfielder, Dax McCarty, MLS veteran, who has, been a rock in their midfield for sure. Let's get into the injuries and availability. So, out for them is Dominic Baji, out with a right ankle injury, and Yonder Cadiz out on international duty. And for us, it's a long-ass list. And Brad Guzan, Miles Robinson, George Bello, Ezekiel Barco, Mateus Hisetu, Emerson Heineman, Franco Ibarra, Jurgen Damm, and then are all out. And Jose Martinez, due to fitness, is questionable. He was still in individual training, according to the press, according to the pressers. But also, Alan Franco is still recovering, and Santiago Sosa is doing much better. So we'll see if he plays a part against Nashville. But Gabriel Heinze did say that he's never experienced anything in his playing or coaching career that compares the number of Atlanta United players who are expected to be absent, either through injuries or international duty, and for the next few weeks. And so, very brutal. Just absolutely, we are depleted beyond belief. But getting into our predicted starting 11. So, in goal, of course, Goose is not available, so Alec Can, who did play with the Twos this past weekend, will probably be the man between the sticks, and it'll be great to see our former starting goalkeeper get some minutes again, and hopefully he can do well. I think through that back line, I think it's going to be Lennon. I think it's going to be Walks on that left center back side. But I think it's going to be George Campbell, probably more of the, or at least I would like to see George Campbell in lieu of Miles Robinson being on international duty. There is Alex DeJohn available, but I think right now blood the young players and see what he can do here. And I think at left back, of course, it's going to be Mikey Ambrose who will start in George Bello's stead. Into this midfield, I think Mo Adams, of course, is going to be that holding midfielder again. I don't know if Sosa is fully ready, but I think you give him one more game kind of on the bench, and then he can maybe come on later if he is fit to have a run out. But I think, yes, Tyler Wolff will again get another run out in central midfield, and hopefully there will be a better connection, as there's some pretty much passing maps that are pretty dire in terms of pretty much Mo Adams is on an island and there is no midfield help. There are no passing networks that look anything like a semblance of anything productive. And I think Marcelino Moreno will be in that middle, maybe that 10 role that maybe Ezequiel Barco was in for the last match. Now, onto the forwards, I think Eric Lopez probably will get the start on the left if Moreno does get a start in the middle. I think Machop Chol deserves maybe some time to see what he can do, I think. I could also see Jake Mulroney probably getting the start as well, as he's the more, veteran guy. He's gotten more starts in playing time. But I would like to see Machop Chol here. And then up top, it's probably going to be Kubo, but I would like to see Jackson Conway get a start and see, what Chol and Conway can do together, as when both came on, they looked pretty decent in, pretty hungry in trying to create some chances. But, what do you guys think? Leave us your starting 11 in the comments below. But, getting into what I'd like to see this team do, I would pretty much like to see them create some more chances and hopefully by some miracle score from the run of play in this game. But we'll see. Try to limit the mistakes and keep our heads up if we do concede, because we can't have another repeat of Chicago. But we'll see what's gonna happen here. But guys, that pretty much does it for this match preview, except for the score prediction. And I think it's another loss. I don't think it's as maybe embarrassing of a loss against the Chicago Fire. I think it's going to be a 1-0 loss to Nashville. Let us know what you think in the comments below. That does it for the match preview and pretty much the entire show, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, what positions would you like to see the team reinforce this summer in the transfer window? Let us know in the comments below. But guys, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I've been AJ. Thank you so much for watching.